Good morning. Today we are going to continue the previous lecture. We are going to see the third mode of discharge of contract. Okay. Now the third mode is what? Discharge by impossibility of performance. If an agreement contains an undertaking to perform an impossibility, it is void ab initio because it is something which is impossible and law does not recognize what is impossible. Now, this impossible thing does not create any kind of obligation. Therefore, that agreement is void. Okay. Now, this concept of impossibility can fall into certain categories. Two categories are there. One, impossibility which was in existence at the time of contract, and the other is what? It was not in existence at the time of contract, it has come into existence afterwards, means at the time of performance of contract. Okay, now these type of two categories are there of impossibility. We will see the first one, that is impossibility existing at the time of agreement. If at the time of agreement itself it is the thing which has agreed is impossible, then it is void. We have already seen, isn't it? Because the subject matter should be such which is of possibility of performance is there. Okay, so at the time of agreement, if something is impossible, the agreed thing is impossible, the contract, or you can say that agreement, is void. An agreement to do an act impossible is void. This is called as pre-contractual or initial impossibility. Now this initial or pre-contractual impossibility can be known to the parties or it can be unknown to the parties, whatever it may happen. It may be known to the parties, it may be unknown to the parties, that agreement is altogether void. So we, for this topic of discharge of contract, are not concerned with this first category. We are concerned with the second category, that is at the time of agreement the subject matter was such that it was going to get performed, but afterwards something happens because of which the agreement is not able to be performed. This is impossibility arising afterwards, impossibility arising subsequent to the formation of the contract. This is called as post-contractual or supervening impossibility. This is also called as doctrine of frustration. Means at the time of agreement everything was okay, it was going to get performed, but afterwards something has happened which has frustrated the contract. Okay, frustrated that agreement. Now the parties can't perform it. Contract becomes void when the act becomes impossible or unlawful. Impossibility of performance is a general excuse, you can say. It is an excuse that it is impossible now, so we can't perform it. Impossibility of performance as a general rule is no excuse. Impossibility of performance is no excuse, but that impossibility is such which goes to the root of the matter, which is caused because of the circumstances which are beyond the control of the parties, then the contract will get discharged. The parties are discharged from performance. The contract has frustrated. Now this discharge because of supervening impossibility can take place by destruction of the subject matter. I was ready to sell my house to you. We entered into an agreement, but before everything could happen, what has happened? Earthquake has taken place and the house has collapsed. Okay, so destruction of the subject matter, then it is frustrating the contract. It is a supervening impossibility. So the circumstances in which the doctrine of frustration plays its role is what? Destruction of subject matter. Second, non-existence or non-occurrence of a particular state of things. Means at the time of agreement everything was okay, I told you. The parties had agreed that they are going to perform. But before the performance, what has happened? The person has become unsound. The party who was going to perform it, he has become unsound. Marriage, they both agreed for marriage. But before marriage, one of the party, he has become unsound. So the agreement need not be fulfilled now. Supervening impossibility has taken place. Or death or incapacity for personal service, or change of law or stepping in of a person who is having a statutory authority, or if there is outbreak of war. Two parties agreed for performing the contract, but before the contract could be fulfilled, as he was a foreigner, the foreign country and our country have declared war. He becomes alien enemy, and now he will not be allowed to perform the contract. Therefore, doctrine of frustration will be there. Supervening impossibility is there. See, impossibility which occurs afterwards, as a general rule, is not an excuse. You have to perform it. But if that impossibility is such which goes to the root of the matter, which is beyond the control of the parties, then the parties are discharged. What are the examples? Destruction of subject matter, non-existence or non-occurrence of a particular state of thing, death or incapacity of the incapacity of the parties for the personal service. For that, you can take an example of a singer. The singer agreed to sing in a concert, but before the date of concert he died, or he became unsound, okay, or he became sick, he met with an accident. Take any example. So death or incapacity for personal service, change of law. We will take an example. I agreed to sell my land to you, but before the sale deed took place and we could go further in that agreement, what has happened? The land has been acquired by the government. So change of law has taken place, or war has been declared between the two countries. These 5 examples which we have taken are such where supervening impossibility has taken place. Something has happened because of which the contract will not be performed. The parties are discharged. The 5 examples which we have taken go to the root of the cause. So the contract need not be performed here. However, you may come with some kind of difficulties and all. Some things which has taken place you will tell, and because of that you want an excuse to discharge the contract. Law says no. These are not good excuses. These are not supervening impossibility. Means, take an example, if strike has taken place, my factory is there, I am going to give you some goods produced from my factory, and strike has been declared in my factory, or lockout is there, and I am telling you, see, strike is there, lockout is there, now I can't give the goods. No, I am not discharged. I have to give you the goods. Maybe I can get some extended time from you. I can take some time from you because of strike and lockout and all. These are certain difficulties which don't frustrate the contract. These are difficulties which I have to overcome. Okay, so these are some things happening after the agreement, but here the contract is not discharged. Here I have to perform that contract. What are the examples of that where the contract is not frustrated? Difficulty of performance, commercial impossibility, impossibility due to failure of third person, strikes, lockouts, or civil disturbances, or failure of one of the object. See, if we both have entered into a contract and the objects are, many objects are there. If one of the object fails, it does not mean the whole contract will come to an end. Okay, that object is going to fail, but for the other part, the contract remains. I have to fulfill the contract. We'll revise again this topic. The impossibility of performance is an excuse sometimes, not always. Okay, means what we have seen here, impossibility can be of 2 types. One which is in existence at the time of contract. That contract or that agreement is void altogether because the impossibility is in existence at the time of agreement. It may be known to the parties, it may be unknown to the parties. Okay, the second one is what? The impossibility which arises subsequently of that agreement. This is called as supervening impossibility. If it is such an impossibility which frustrates the object of the contract, then the contract gets discharged, the parties are relieved. But all excuses or all things which happen afterwards, after the agreement, are not going to excuse you from performing the contract. So we have to check here what type of impossibility is there. Some impossibility which arise after the agreement may frustrate the contract, but some other excuses which are not going to frustrate, but here you can get some time, some extended time and all, but you have to perform that contract. Okay, this was the third mode of discharge of contract. Here also we have not completed the topic. We will continue the topic in the next video. Okay, bye bye.